Ok, now we switch in English. Chi volesse, ci sono le cuffie per le traduzioni.
We are now switching to English. For those who are interested, you can find the headset.
Here we are. First of all, thank you for being here. I know you are from New York, so you had a long journey, but I know you like to stay in Italy and in Montalcino, so I think it was nice to have you here.
Thank you.
First of all, I would like to ask you, because you told me already when we had the chat over the phone about the history, the incredible history of your family and the history that brought you here in Italy with this investment.
Well, thank you very much, Davide, and thank you for letting me speak English. My Italian is very proficient when I have been here for a few weeks, and being that I arrived yesterday, I remained for a month in Montalcino. I promise if I come back in a month, I'll do this much better in Italian, but I am American, and it's quite an interesting story because not often do you see Americans coming to Italy to create a wine estate. Very often Italians would go to America, to California and such. But my family, even though I'm American, my heart, my soul is Italian, and actually my grandfather was from Saronno, vicino qui a Milano. And he was actually raised by his aunt, and her name was Theodelinda Banfi. So Banfi being the name of the company. But Theodelinda Banfi was an amazing historical figure in the church here, the Catholic Church, because she was the head of the household, the Archbishop of Milano. So this is back in 1900s. And the Archbishop of Milano, Achille Ratti, was then elected to become Pope Pius XI. So the Pope, well, the Archbishop was to move to the Vatican City. And as such, he needed to bring my great aunt, Theodelinda, with him because she was in charge of running his home, his staff, his food, his wine, of course, and his robes, you know, good choice between white and red. And she was equivalent to the adopted sister of Pope Pius XI. So she raised my grandfather when he was a young boy because his parents were not of the means to raise him properly in America. So he came to Italy until he was about 20 years old, and then returned back to America and started importing products into Little Italy, which is New York, and named the house Banfi after the woman that he loved like a mother. So our roots go back very deeply here. And actually, Theodelinda was the first woman who was not a nun to be honored to be buried within the Vatican City as well. So it really was a great honor. So today, as the fourth generation in the wine business, it's nice to have another woman, and I look up to her for inspiration.
Oh, yes, of course. And going ahead with the story, so he started the import business in Little Italy, And started importing Italian wines or also other things?
Wines from all over. Particularly, we imported products from Italy because wines in the 1900s, this is 1919, over 100 years ago. Italian wines were vino da tavola, but it was more the olio or the sale di Montecatini, but also some of the great first growths of Bordeaux and Germany, the Mosel and the Rhine. So really importing products from around the world.
And then you told me you started importing Lambrusco.
Sí. So the Lambrusco, my father, who's named John Mariani, he had been frustrated in America, New York, trying to sell Italian wines and getting more people to drink them in the 1970s. And even the French wines were very expensive, and the average American, which we know is the biggest consumers of wine in the world, he wanted to introduce a wine where Americans could drink it every day. And he knew of a wine, Lambrusco, and he worked with the Cooperativa Riuniti and made it into a style that could be more chilled, frizzante, screw cap, and he brought it to America. And lo and behold, it sold more imported wine in the history of the United States.
With the brilliant results, I remember.
I'm sorry?
With brilliant results.
Brilliant. America loved it.
How many bottles?
I think at its peak, we were selling 12 million cartone.
Wow.
So it brought, what it did, and still today, it's a magnificent wine, it introduced people to drinking wine and having it on the table when they would never have thought of wine before.
It's an entry for
An entry level, which we need. We need to grow our consumption base around the world for all wines, and you need to start somewhere. It's hard to start with
import
Brunello.
Lambrusco or not anymore?
Not anymore. That went back to Riuniti GIV. They're representing it themselves. So we decided in America to more focus our portfolio on the brands which we truly own, which is Banfi, and some wines from Washington State and Oregon, as well as some from Chile.
And just to conclude the story, then your father decided, or your grandfather decided to create his own wine when
My father. So in 1978, he said, now I have the financial resources from the U.S. business to become a wine producer. And it was there that he came back and he paired up with an old partner, an old friend, Ezio Rivella, who was really an icon in the wine business, became one. And it was Ezio and John together. They said, let's go to Montalcino. It's very quiet. There's a few producers, Biondi Santi, of course, being a magnificent historical one. But they saw the potential of the territory. And there it was, vast land, diversity of soil. And it was over time, starting in 1978, that we amassed about 2,800 hectares of land, and most of that had not been planted with vineyards. So it was truly created as an estate to be experimental and new and to try different clones of Sangiovese and clones of grape, which hadn't naturally had a home in Toscana.
And so so from there, they said 2,800 hectares.
2,800 hectares.
So it's not only
Yes.
Montalcino, I guess, you do other things.
We do other IGT, but only 1/3 of that 2,800 hectares is planted to vineyards. So the rest is, a lot of it is hunting, preserve, and forest. So we speak of sustainability, and we have one of the highest ratios of cultivated agriculture to non-cultivated. So we're very proud that we preserve a lot of this beautiful territory. Obviously, we have the olives and the plum trees, and so we export the prunier to the European market as well. So it's really agricultural estate.
Okay. And coming back to our times, what you've seen, what happened to the company and your business in the last 3 years with COVID and
Much. So our strategy shifted a lot. I mean, I am up here as not just a CEO, but as a family member. So a lot of the changes that happen in third generation family businesses come down to many family members being involved and needing to clean I shouldn't say clean up, but reorganize the company for the next generation. So one of the big changes that Banfi and I decided to go through was to consolidate down the portfolio, and then other members of the family decided they wanted to exit the business. So when you're a 50-50 business partnership, it's very challenging because many of them said to me, okay, you have to sell the business. We sell it as a whole company, we get more money. But my heart, my passion, my work, my father, we love Montalcino, we love Banfi. I didn't come this far and raise children and work so hard to then sell it. You know, we do this in the wine business because we love it. We don't always do it for the immediate returns. If we wanted faster returns, we'd become investment bankers. So that was one of the biggest challenges, was organizing with the family how to buy them out of their shares without turning to the, you know, private equity markets or to really raising our own funds. So that's something we're very conservative and believe in. And I'm very proud that I was able to do that with my father. So now, shift 2 years later, right after we did it, the COVID arrived. So that was
you bought
right before COVID.
Before COVID.
And then, so I was scared, because then I'm the CEO, and now all of a sudden the world is ending, right, as we know it. And I said, oh boy, I should have sold the business just before. Maybe it was bad timing. But honestly, in retrospect, it was the greatest, boldest decision my father and I could have made. COVID came, COVID left. Now you see from all the figures that the world is loving Italian wines ever more again, and especially the premiumization of wines, as you saw the dynamic shift. So our portfolio has shifted to the premiumization, the higher portfolio, and the company is not with many cousins and owners. It resides with my father, and he's retired, so myself. And it's very streamlined, and we're making more money now and more profit than we have before. With the different portfolios. So it worked. Where's my wood? It worked out well for now.
Congratulations. And for the future, what do you see for Banfi? What are your strategies? What do you think you have to invest in or focus on?
Yes, well, that's a good question, because obviously there's the focus on continuing the quality and the research of the grapes to make better wines, because the competition from around the world as far as the technology and the chemistry to make better wines is harder, is more and more. So one of our focus is really to stay organically within our portfolio to continue to make outstanding, whether it's in the vineyards or, of course, in the winery. Our other focus as a family now is our hospitality, because the wine world is so big, but as you know, Davide, the fashion, the travel is tremendously broad, and we're very proud of our Relais and Chateau Hotel at Castello Banfi Borgo and the Michelin star restaurant. So one of our missions is to continue to expand the hospitality offerings, because really that's one of the best ways to get people knowledgeable about your wines. It's the branding. And a lot of what we do is to make a unique mark is branding in our business, because we all make great wines. Now we have to get the consumers in all the countries to recognize who Banfi is, and they know it from the wines, and they know it as a beautiful setting with a 12th century castle.
How many rooms you have now?
Only 14 luxury suites. So when I return back to Montalcino, we're working on adding more now then.
I guess in 2,800 hectares, you have plenty.
We have land. We have land. We work
also buildings, I mean, houses or...
35 farmhouses on our property, so we have a lot of opportunity to renovate, and the castle itself.
And so what is the percentage of the hospitality business within Banfi today?
So the hospitality business generates probably only about 15% of our revenue, but I'd like to see the whole pie grow bigger, but to have that revenue increase even more as a percentage, because that revenue from the hospitality directly translates back to people falling in love with the brand of Banfi. And
so it's like Napa Valley, they have a very higher quote of hospitality.
Yes. So remember, I'm American. So where do we see grand success in hospitality and trade? We study Napa Valley, Sonoma, and that's almost the benefit of being an American. You can see the various perspectives, Chile, how well they do it, and we can try to replicate and be the best.
And what about the brand? You are going to invest more and more on the brand, or?
Yes, so we are looking. The brand for us, Banfi, really represents Montalcino is our flagship, but then Tuscany and Piemonte. So we're investing more in Bulgari, in Chianti. Our Chiantis continue to do extremely well. And then I always want to look at other territories, which would still be premiumized, but still mean something to Banfi, meaning it is Italian. It's not Banfi Australia, Banfi in US. Those are different brands. So we are looking within Italy.
So you think you may use Banfi brand for other vineyards in Italy,
yes.
but not outside of it?
Yes, but Banfi small. You know, it would be if it was Sicilia or something else. It would, like we have in Piemonte, we do Banfi small, Grander Piemonte. Because Banfi, honestly, with the numbers of wine labels on the market all over, and coming from America, it's frightening when you walk into a supermarket and you see the number of labels on the shelves. It's actually depressing, because there's a lot of private label, there's a lot of other brands. So truly the important thing for the future is to focus on building the authenticity and the message of your brand, because that's what consumers will know. To create a new brand today is one of the most challenging things, I think, between social media, the number of private labels. It's really overwhelming.
And last question, what about younger generation? What do you think about, because I think it's a crucial theme about wine producer, thinking about the way they will consume alcohol and wine.
Yes, well, I think it is something...
Being you, obviously, an American, so you have a different perspective.
I do. I think it's something that makes us fearful, but makes us work harder, because we see the younger generation going to the cocktail trend, and we see them not coming immediately into wines. But that being said, with the food business still moving forward so strongly, with the knowledge of the younger consumers about cocktails, about pairings of food and wine, even if it's with fine beer, the knowledge to understand fine wines is there as well. It's just a matter of us educating. It's a matter of us making styles of wines that can be softer, more tannic, sometimes a little bit of sweetness. It's introducing them on a level and at an affordable price point, which we do affordable luxury, where they can try it. So it's a nice everyday IGT, or it's a nice Rosso di Montalcino, or we do a lot with our Perchetto d'Acqui. You know, it's a softer style. I cannot give up on the next generation, because if we did, I think we would all be not here today. We have to continue to strive and work together as an industry with the help of Pian Bianco to get the message out that wine is everything that young consumers are looking for. It's culture, art, people, travel, and something that brings people together.
Last question, are your son going... Are they going to work with the company, within the company? Or not?
I would like that. I have two sons. They're 20, 18, and a daughter who's 16. And they tell me, Mom, you can't, don't tell me what to do now. I want to go explore the world, work in banking, work in medicine. But I hope one day they've grown up with this, with a mother who this is all we talk about is wine and food. So I think they would be... I shouldn't say this word about them, but almost foolish if they didn't come into this beautiful world of food and wine. It's so magnificent, and they will. I just can't tell them as a mother quite yet.
Okay, thank you very much for your...
Grazie, Davide. Grazie.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.